Hi, I'm Mike with House on the Mend, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the NaTiddy Mini Electric chainsaw. So let's get started.
If you break it, he will fix it. If you buy it, he will build it. House on the Mend.
Now, I'm not paid nor sponsored by NaTiddy. They simply saw a video I did reviewing a competitor's mini chainsaw, reached out, sent me this one for my independent review. And as you can see, it's been slaying our pine trees. But let's see what comes in the box. All right, here's everything that comes inside this nice case. You get two 2,000 milliamp hour batteries. That equates to a 2 amp hour battery. They don't have a cradle that you slide in to charge. Instead, they have this jack that plugs into the wall for charging. You get 2 screwdrivers, this one that's kind of a standalone Phillips, and then one inside the handle of the chainsaw itself. Both are used for tensioning or removing and replacing the chain. Speaking of the chain, you do get one extra 6-inch chain. You get a pair of working gloves. They are very, very thin and also very small. Moving on, another piece of safety equipment are these safety glasses. I like the fact that they put in a pair of safety gloves and glasses. I think that's thoughtful. The only problem is these are so thin and cheesy, they actually pop out just by a little bit of twisting. So I wouldn't trust my eyesight to these. Now, when I take the battery and slide it from the front into place, I notice that the tool is not actually balanced. It is heavier towards the back. Not too bad, but I have reviewed other tools that were really well balanced. Feels pretty good in the hand. This is a little rubber piece here. The little sticker that came on there is already peeling off straight out of the box. This chain guard up here is meant to protect your eyes and your face from debris being kicked up, and also from you getting cut by the chain. And as you cut down through your material, it is spring loaded and it moves out of the way. As you complete your cut, it automatically goes back in. I like those features. This one is very, very cheap plastic, and as far as another quality control issue goes, it looks like it was just pulled right off of whatever little injection molded plastic frame it was on, and not really even filed down to make it smooth. This little circle dial here is for loosening the chain tension, so you would loosen it here, and then right here there is a place for the Phillips screwdriver to go to tighten or loosen. When you got it to the proper tension, you would simply screw it back tight. On the handle itself, you'll find this little safety button that releases a block so you can then squeeze the trigger. I would have liked to have seen one on the other side for left-handed users. It is clearly intended for right-handed users. However, me being left-handed, I'm used to that. You can simply grab it and push it in and still actuate the trigger. I like this full guard right here for your hands when you're plunging through shrubbery and things to protect them a little bit. Let's put the battery in and see how it sounds. Not very loud. I think I'll still wear hearing protection when I'm using it, but it's not whiny or anything. The user's manual is very brief and to the point. There are a lot of superfluous safety rules. Everything in here that speaks about safety concerns is all directly related to this individual tool. It does say that the cutting diameter is 150 millimeters. That comes out to about 5.9 inches. As you can see in this picture here, that is not true. The cutting length is going to be just over 5.5 inches. Now, one thing I did notice is the battery is pretty snug on there, a little bit tough to take off, but that's not necessarily a problem. Speaking of the battery, there is no indicator on here of what the state of charge is. I would like to see a push button of some kind that would show you what the remaining charge is. Especially with this battery where the instruction manual tells you, try not to use it until it is empty, or it will damage the battery. Well, you're gonna have no way of knowing when it's close to empty because there's no indicator. All right, let's charge the batteries. All right, overall, I would say the feel of this battery is very chintzy. Nonetheless, let's get a temperature reading. 78 degrees Fahrenheit or 26 degrees Celsius. You can see the indicator is green until we plug it in. It's turned to red. And let's see how long it takes to charge. All right, 2 hours and 19 minutes. The light has turned green. And it's 79 degrees, so it only rose 1 degree Fahrenheit. Pretty good. Don't worry, I'm not being attacked by a badger. It's just very windy out here, and this little guy goes over my microphone and helps to take away a lot of that wind noise. So the manual says to check for proper chain tightness, you want to pull down on the chain in the center, and you should be able to see 1 to 3 of the actual teeth that go on the inside, and we're perfect there. Now, shockingly, there is not a single mention in the manual about lubricating the chain. Now, anybody who's watched any of my other videos knows that when it came to the really small bar chain oil reservoirs of the electric chainsaws that I reviewed, I thought they were pathetic and I complained about them. So these mini electric chainsaws get away from that completely. There's no reservoir anywhere. That's great, so you don't have to keep going back and filling it up with a specific type of bar chain oil. But now we're getting a little extreme. You know you have to lubricate a bicycle chain, and there's way more friction on the chain in a little mini electric chainsaw. So what I like to do is take a little bit of, say, 3-in-1 oil or something with a little more viscosity than WD-40 and get oil down in here where it will get into the bar itself, and then just give it a couple runs through, get everything good and lubricated, and you're gonna be ready to go. Let's pop a battery in this guy and get started on this tree right here. All right, now normally when you're cutting a tree branch, you want to make a relief cut further away from the trunk and then come down and do a finish cut, and that will keep the branch from splitting and tearing down the tree. These branches right here are small enough that I can support the weight and just cut straight through them, so let's see how the saw does. Yeah, no problem on this soft pine. Quick and easy. This one here is a little heavier, so let's try out what I'm talking about. A little relief cut. About 1/3 of the way up, and then I'm going to come down. And that way, if it fell out of my hand, it wouldn't tear down and injure the tree. The tree will easily repair a proper cut. Now this little guy really isn't too loud, but I think I'm still gonna go get some hearing protection so that I don't have to just listen to that whine the whole time we're cutting. All right, hearing protection in, let's get back at it. Now it's gonna be really difficult to get a good cut if you're coming in with the motor side towards the tree trunk. So it really forces you to get over on this side and cut from the flat side. Which is fine, but it makes it where left-handers like me are gonna have a much easier time to cut it than the majority of humans that are right-handed. I I put in this awesome little butterfly and bee house, but this tree's starting to encroach on a little bit, so let's limb up some of these branches real quick. Now, like any good gardener, I like my plants to be dormant when I'm pruning them. That is, unless they are encroaching on our block walls and causing a potential danger to what would be a very expensive repair. So I'm gonna give this guy a little trim before fall. And one more back here. Well, this saw is working great, but the chain's getting a little bit loose for my taste. As you can see, it's sagging there, but that's no problem because built right into the handle is this little tool. So let's pull that out. Then we'll loosen up this little yellow knob, spin the tool around, and let's tighten up that chain. Yeah, quick and easy. Spin it back around and twist that knob tight. Now we'll just put the battery back in and we'll be ready to go. Oh. One battery. This is just the front of the house. I had to strap it all down. Brown is from the last chainsaw I reviewed. This is all just from today. One battery. There should be no question on battery life on this guy. Whew. All right, I have no safety concerns with a stepladder level of height when I'm trimming trees with the chainsaw. Anything higher than that, and I like to switch tools. Now this branch right here is heading off and just about to hit the house, so it's becoming a danger and we need to trim it off. Now for this one, I'm gonna make 3 cuts because it's a pretty big branch. I'm gonna do an undercut, a through cut to make sure I don't have any tear out, and then I'm gonna finish up with a really good clean cut down at the joint. Wasn't as heavy as it seemed. All right. There we go. Look at this lopsided tree. It's making it so you can't even walk around the perimeter of the swimming pool. That's better. That's a respectable pile. I swear I'm in here. This is supposed to be the walkway leading to our fire pit. A little bit overgrown. See, I told you I was in here. All right, I think that's enough. Well, this saw's done really well so far, all on the same battery, but now it enters the cage match. This is African sumac. This is a very hard wood, and several other electric chainsaws have struggled to cut through it. The other mini electric one handled it like a boss. I have all the confidence in this one as well. Let's see if it can do it. struggling. Ah, and it cut out. All right. I'm not putting a lot of pressure down. I'm letting the saw do the work. There we go. Took 2 tries, but it got it. I tell you, that African sumac, man, no joke. Yep, I called it. It didn't take long for the little sticker that was right there to fall off. This one's not far behind. Now this big old palm frond here is a victim of our last windstorm. And getting up on a ladder that high with a handheld chainsaw is not safe. So I'm glad I've got this Ryobi pole saw. It's been reviewed, you can check it out. Links right here. Much better. Well, that tree in our backyard might have been too tall to get with this guy, but this one out front of the Bullhead City House is a perfect height. So let's see how it does on palm fronds. I should mention, we're still on the first battery. So still a single charge. I just lubricated the chain again because it's a different day. Oh, so check this out. The chain just came off. So I haven't had that experience before with these mini chainsaws, so let's go put the chain back on. So I got the battery out. I'm going to unscrew the little knob, pull the cover off. So in putting the chain back on, start by putting it on the bar on both sides, then set it in the sprocket, and then pull the bar until this little holder pin here engages. That's your pin when you tighten or loosen that moves the bar back and forth. So once that's done, we can put the cover plate back on, then the washer, and then our little tightening knob here. All right, back in progress. I'm gonna check the tightness of the chain, see if that was an issue, and we'll get back to cutting. All right, back up and running. I had checked the chain tightness before we started cutting, so that wasn't the issue. It simply was bouncing through these palm fronds and came off. So nonetheless, we're back up and running, and that was a good illustration of how you get this guy back up and running in the field. Let's finish up. Well, to give this little guy the benefit of the doubt, I moved over here and started cutting these 2 palm trees. And as you can see, it's handling it. I haven't had the chain come off again, but it is getting loose already. So it's only been like 5 minutes since I tightened it. So I'm not convinced that this little yellow knob here is the best idea for keeping the chain at the preferred tension. Wow, only an hour and 21 minutes to recharge. That means with all that cutting we did, we depleted the battery less than it was originally shipped with. That's pretty impressive. All right, let's finish up this video with some pros and cons. First, the pros. The battery life on this saw is phenomenal. I cut all day long here at our house, and then the next day transported the saw down to the Bullhead City, Arizona house that I'm renovating and cut all the palm fronds you saw there, all with one battery on one single charge. Just awesome. This unit also comes with 2 batteries, so that would be counted as a pro as well. Then the tool in the handle is fantastic. This saw gets loose, we're going to talk about that in a second, but nonetheless, when you need to make an adjustment on the chain tension, having the tool right there integral into the handle is a really neat feature. And fourth, the colors. I didn't mention this in the beginning, but the accent colors on this saw come in yellow, green, or pink. So if you have color preferences, you have 3 different color patterns to choose from. The sound coming out of this mini electric chainsaw is among the quietest of the electric chainsaws I've reviewed. Now the cons. First and foremost is the overall build quality. It is very evident when you handle this tool that all of the outer materials are a cheaper grade of plastic than most of the tools that I use and review. The battery also has a very cheap, light plastic feel to it. The tensioner here on the saw is really substandard. There were multiple times, as I showed in the video, where I would have to stop what I was doing to retension the saw, which might explain why the tool is right there in the handle, because you're going to need it a lot. As far as motor strength, the saw did pretty good, but it did cut out when cutting through about a 4-inch piece of that African sumac, which admittedly is a hardwood, but nonetheless, the other mini electric chainsaw I reviewed was able to get through it in one cut. The saw also struggled with brown palm fronds, so the very dead and dry palm fronds. It jumped around a lot, which was very uncomfortable, and then also, as you saw, the chain came off. I believe all that jumping is due to the fact that it is an unbalanced tool. So if more of the weight was up front, I don't think the saw would be jumping as much. It's being assisted by the fact that it is off balance. And the final con would be the battery platform. There are currently no other tools that use the 21-volt battery for NaTiddy tools. They do have one weed whacker on Amazon and also on their website, but as you can see here, it is a 20-volt instead of a 21-volt. It uses a cradle instead of the jack, so I don't think it's a compatible battery, and therefore you're going to have no other tools to use with the battery platform. So overall, who do I see being best suited for this tool? I would say those needing light-duty pruning. Maybe seasonal on softwood. You can break this out every fall, prune up your trees and shrubs and things, and I think it would work well for you. Also, I think it would be exceptional for those hunting and camping. So when you head up to hunt camp right before the opening day, and you're driving up that path and there's a tree that's fallen over and you have to get out, fire up your chainsaw, cut it down, cut it into pieces, move it out of the way. Those sorts of instances in hunting, I think this saw would do a great job of, provided it's not a very hardwood that you're trying to cut through, say oak or something like that. Also, since the saw is so quiet and gives off no fumes, you're not going to be telegraphing your location to any big game as much as a gas-powered chainsaw that echoes through the whole valley and also gives off the exhaust smell. For camping, it would be the same thing. You can cut through a tree that's fallen over on your path, but also once you get to your campsite, you can go around, gather up fallen dead wood, and cut those branches down to size to make your campfire. Now, I'm an independent reviewer, but if I did have an opportunity to speak with the folks at NaTiddy, here is the advice that I would give them. I would say sacrifice one of the two batteries you offer for better overall build quality. One battery lasts so long, you could save a little bit of money by providing only one battery and put the remainder of that unit cost into building a better overall saw. Now, if you found this video helpful, will you please give it a thumbs up? It really helps the algorithms to start suggesting it to more viewers like you. Also, please consider subscribing. I'm working really hard to put out good quality content and honest reviews, and there's more videos to come. I'm going to leave a link for this saw in the description below. Now, full disclosure, that is an Amazon affiliate link, so if you click on it and end up making a purchase, it won't cost you a thing, but I do get a small reward at the end of the month. It helps to justify all the time and effort it takes to make these videos. I'd like to thank NaTiddy for being brave enough to send me a saw with no preconceived agreements so I could give it an honest review. Until next time, thank you for watching. Hello, got me? There you are. And finally, oh my gosh, there's some metal piece of heavy machinery out there like squeaking and shrieking. I'm going to leave a link for this saw in the description below. Full disclosure, that is another aircraft.